Which ant species is the best for a newbie that won't experience the pride and satisfaction of raising its personal little ant empire, starting just from a single queen? If you're new to this amazing and underrated hobby called ant keeping and are not already completely sure which species to choose as your first, this is the perfect video for you. Let's get right into it. Hi guys, hope you're doing well. Welcome back to the BRUMA Ants channel. In today's video, we're going to talk about ant species, or to be a little more specific, beginner ant species. This fantastic and niche hobby offers a window into the complex social structures, behaviors and intelligence of the tiny, lovely creatures called ants. The best part? It's easily accessible to everyone, no matter your experience level or how much you're willing to spend. Starting this long journey, however, requires some thoughtful consideration, especially when it comes to selecting the right type of ant for your future little ant empire. For beginners, the key aspect to consider when it comes to choosing the first species of ant is how much effort it takes to care for that particular species. As a beginner, you don't only need to find an ant species that is extremely captivating and fascinating to observe, so that it keeps you interested in it. But above all, you need to find a type of ant that is relatively easy to care for, and that requires very little expertise to make it thrive. This means opting for a species that can survive even with very little basic maintenance, capable of withstanding the vast majority of frequent errors that the average new ant keeper might make when first trying this hobby. In this beginner-friendly guide, we'll introduce you to 5 exceptional ant species, considered by most ant keepers to be the perfect choice for anyone just starting out with keeping ants as little pets. Each of these species possesses unique traits and behaviors that not only make them a fascinating object of study, but also an excellent choice for those embarking on the ant keeping train for the first time. So, having said that, let's start with the first species. Messor Barbarus, the red-headed harvester ant. Here it is, the first species in the list. Messor Barbarus, also known as the red-headed harvester ant, is considered by most ant keepers to be the absolute best species for people who are just starting to keep ants as little pets. As the name suggests, this cool species is part of the broader Messor genus, a larger group that includes all the types of ants that have seeds as their main dish on their menu. Yeah, you heard it right, seeds! This peculiar simple diet is one of the main reasons that make this species one of the easiest kinds of ant to care for. They just need a nest, some water to drink, and some seeds to eat. That's it. As long as they have these 3 elements, they can grow and expand indefinitely, getting from just a single queen with some eggs to a massive 1000-worker colony. No need to have fancy nests or overly complicated setups. Just a very basic expandable nest and you can quickly get a real ant empire right in your house. This species is not only extremely easy to care for, but it's actually really cool to watch. From the giant red head of the majors, yeah, that's where their common name comes from, to their clumsy and funny way of walking. You can literally spend hours watching their weird but amazing behavior inside the colony. One of the things I find most fascinating about this species is the way they move and store the seeds inside the nest. Every time I give them a new dose of fresh, tasty seeds, I usually spend at least 10 minutes watching them try their hardest to bring all the seeds into the nest. They have actual special chambers in their nest solely dedicated to storing the seeds, keeping them ready for every eventuality. I really like this species, and I definitely agree with the fact that it is one of the best species for beginners. Now, to the next one. Lasius Niger, the black garden ant. Next up in our guide for choosing the best species for beginners, we have one of the most common ants in the world, Lasius Niger. In pair with Messor Barbarus, Lasius Niger occupies the top spots when it comes to the best species for newbies. This species is extremely common in Europe, where it fills the yards of every house in the continent, but can also be found in some parts of North America and Asia. Very different from Messor Barbarus in terms of aesthetics and diet, it however shares the same characteristics when it comes to resiliency and survival ability. One of the main reasons for its diffusion among ant keepers all over the world is the ease with which it can easily be found by anyone, even if not interested in ants. During the nuptial flight season, which for this species usually occurs between July and August, you can easily spot giant swarms of flying ants flying around street lamps at night, attracted by their bright lights. This species is so common that its official common name is black garden ant. If you see a garden in Europe, you can be sure that underneath you will find a ton of Lasius Niger workers hustling around the clock to feed the brood, creating the largest ant colony they can manage. This is another strong option if you are a beginner and are not already convinced about which species to get as your first. Lasius Niger can definitely be the way to go. Let's jump to the next one. Pheidole Pallidula, the big-headed ant. This cute and small species of ant is another great option when it comes to starting an ant colony as a beginner. With their impressive polymorphism, you can be sure that you will be spending a lot of time watching the ants go about their daily activities. The clear difference between the smaller workers and the larger big-headed soldiers provides a vivid example of the very cool ant caste system. Watching the different kinds of ants, each one with its own specific role, work together in different ways to reach a common objective is a truly fascinating experience. It makes you really appreciate the complex structure of the societies of these small creatures we call ants. Another peculiar aspect of this cute small species is its incredible fast pace of growth. You can be sure about that, they truly grow insanely fast. If provided with the right amount of food and temperature, there's nothing that can stop these bad boys from outgrowing the nest in a heartbeat. You might think that this is a negative aspect of the species, and that a colony that grows too fast is not probably the best thing to experience as a beginner. Well, you may be right, but I have to disagree on this one. I think that having a fast-changing colony population is actually a good thing, especially if this is your first ever colony. If your first ever experience with keeping a colony is one full of boredom and lack of progress, your ant-keeping journey probably won't be a very long one. Okay, time for the next species. Formica Cinerea, the Ashy mining ant. This is probably one of the less suggested species with which to start your first ant colony. To be honest, I don't really know why, as I found them to be a very nice first species choice for someone who has never had any experience in keeping ants before. I think they are a valid alternative, and are definitely on par with the other species we've seen before. When it comes to diet, adaptability, and time needed to make them thrive, I think that Formica Cinerea is 100% aligned with the very famous beginner-friendly Lasius Niger. Much larger in size and a lot easier to observe if compared to the more mainstream Lasius Niger, this species has all the characteristics to make it the perfect choice for a starter colony. Thanks to their extremely strong adaptability, they are capable of thriving in a variety of different and harsh environmental conditions. This important aspect makes them a lot more resilient than many of the other species usually kept in this hobby, and makes them an excellent alternative for first-time ant keepers. One cool characteristic that distinguishes this species from the other ones on the list is the speed in which they move around the environment. They are extremely fast. You haven't even finished putting some food in the outworld before a dozen workers are already running at full speed towards the bowl, hoping to get a share of the pie. To conclude, their adaptability to harsh environments, intriguing foraging behavior, diverse diet, and cool aesthetic make them not only a very easily manageable species to keep as a beginner, but also a source of continuous learning and entertainment. Now, let's move to the last species on the list. Crematogaster Scutellaris, the Acrobat ant. Here we are, at the last option of the video. Crematogaster Scutellaris is another species that's not usually recommended as a first option for people who are just starting to get interested in keeping ants as pets. With their heart-shaped abdomen and reddish head, Crematogaster Scutellaris is probably one of the cutest ant species in the entire world. Keeping them inside a very clean and easy to see ant nest can provide endless hours of entertainment for the entire family. The worker ants of this species are also very popular for their distinct and peculiar ability to lift their abdomen over their thorax and head to spray Formica acid directly in front of them, showing to a potential intruder who's really in charge. Crematogaster Scutellaris, just like Pheidole Pallidula, has an impressive fast growth rate. If provided with the right environment and a proper protein-rich diet, you can easily get from a single queen with a bunch of eggs to a massive colony in less than a year. Thanks to its cuteness and rapid growth rate, I think this is one of the best species you can get if you want to experiment a bit with growing your first ever ant colony from scratch. So, there they are, 5 of the best species you can choose to start your first ever ant colony. Each one of these amazing ant species is known for its strong resilience and unmatched ability to thrive under the harshest climates and worst conditions, making them the perfect option for those just starting to dip their toes in the magical world of ant keeping. It's not really that important which of these species you choose as your first, as all of them have the important characteristics needed to withstand even the most extreme and common mistakes a newbie ant keeper can make. If you're watching this guide, there's an extremely high chance that you are just starting out with this amazing hobby called ant keeping, and that your experience level is likely very close to 0. If that's the case, you cannot miss this other video. In this one, you will learn everything you need to know about one of the most important aspects of the life of an ant colony: hibernation. Thank you for watching, and see you soon in another video.